Welcome to Father Fish and the Natural Aquarium. Well, hello. This is Father Fish. Now back with you in a new and exciting format. Welcome to Father Fish and the Natural Aquarium. Well, that's my extended introduction, complete with a few blurbs. Nice to be with you all. Happy to be here. I've got my microphone over my head, so I'm guessing you can hear me. If there's a problem with the sound, holler at me and I'll fix it. Billy, bad lungs. Hello, Billy. Happy to see you. Who else is here? Goodness, a whole bunch of people are here. I need to get rid of something. There we go. All right. So CL says the song was well done. That is a cool song, isn't it? I really enjoyed that. I don't know how it got up there. I didn't set it up. I think that may be a new feature of YouTube to play the whatever the intro video is, and that's my intro video on my site. So, but I appreciate it. David Metcalf has got a tank that he's happy with. Love my 6-week-old aquarium. CL412. Like the song. Let's see. I've got something funny in the middle, in the way here. Here we go. I don't miss many lives. Good to have you here. Got Gil specialty. I don't miss many lives. Oh, well, all right. I don't miss many lives. Right. I don't miss many live streams. Very good. Good job. Good job getting a special little, a specialties aquatics. Yes. Oh, I miss my brain, I think, sometimes. Hello, says Chimp Dog. Chimp Dog says, I'm excited. Randy Scott's here. And Randy says, this is my first time joining. You know what? Let me see if I can get over here to the channel. Dovey. And I will see if I can give you a wrench. I don't know if I can do anything. Let's see. All right, here we go. I have to go to YouTube to do it. And it's not on, you know what? You're on my other channel. I got 8 watching on, this is Father Fish, which is my big channel. That's odd. Odd. I don't know if I can get to the other channel. Let's see. I don't even know how. Let you Google account customize passwords. Huh. Huh. Sync is on. I don't know. It's all very strange to me. Let me get back where I was. At least have that much going. Randy Scott. Hey, Randy. Get down. What is this silliness? Got too much stuff here. Show you referral link. I don't want to do that. Can I get out of that? Wait. Randy Scott, welcome, Randy. Perfect sound, good. And Terranova says howdy. Scott Hodes. And somebody in Russia, oh, Greece. Somebody from Greece. Writing in Greek, I can't read it. Christian is apparently here. Christian Link. Yunkel Kutch. Hey, Christian. Oh, dear. I'm still working on it, Christian. I'm going to get there. I will get there, I promise you. I'm trying to get through the weeds. I've got all kinds of things, and I'm about 90% through it now. And I've managed to postpone the last of it till later in the month. So maybe tomorrow I can get on it. This is interesting. According to StreamYard, there are 97 people watching. That's pretty interesting. Wonder where that number came from. I don't think I have anything like that on YouTube. What's it say? On my YouTube regular channel, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. None of it makes sense. According to this, there are $13 watching. So I got a host of people on the other channel. No rush, Slim, no worry. Well, thank you, Christian. Let's talk fish then. I'm ready. I'm ready, Neil. Let's talk fish. Hey, do pie. All right. Well, I came up with a name for the average fish tank. The average fish tank being a tank that's loaded with whatever chemicals the big box stores manage to sell you. Some gravel or nothing, or marbles, or beads, or some other weird substrate. One or two maybe plastic plants, a castle, or some other felonious hardscape. What else? A few fish with ick, and dry food that has zero nutritional value, preferably a dried hard flake food. That's the average fish tank. And that the name for that tank, the name I've given that tank is quite simply the death tank. So as the next video, I'm suggesting, are you tired of killing your fish? Or would you like to stop killing your fish? Or stop killing your fish? Or something thereupon. The alternative, of course, is to stop killing your fish, because there really is no excuse for killing your fish. There really is none, provided you don't pay attention at all to what the big box stores and most of the online 15-year-old gurus are telling you, which is not to disparage 15-year-old gurus, mind you. It is simply to say that there are far too many giving out advice who don't know anything. And so they're really not in a position to give advice out at all, but they do so nevertheless because they're trying to get clicks or whatever. So what we propose is you stop killing your fish and start creating natural aquariums, because the natural aquarium guaranteed will keep your fish alive for years. Guaranteed. It just will happen. Now you can screw it up. Yes, you can. You can mess it up, and there are those who do. They watch 5 minutes of a video and decide they know everything. So they go out, they dig up some dirt out of their flower bed, which has had God knows what put on it, put it in their fish tank, and they don't have sand, so they put some clay or maybe some marbles or whatever gravel is left on top of it, and they fill it with water without trying to protect it all. So the water stirs it up. They wind up with a muddy tank, and they complain about it being a muddy tank, of course. And then they put, they put fish in it. And of course, the fish die shortly thereafter, which proves to them that the father fish system doesn't work. Now, these same twits will watch 5 minutes of a Wallstead video and determine that, they should get it out of the garden, not out of the flower bed. So out to the garden they go, bring it in, dump it in the pond, put a few plants in it, may or may not cap it with anything and fill it with water. And lo and behold, the plants grow. Well, I can't explain any of that. What I can explain is that if you do our system the way we teach it, you will not fail. And that's an absolute guarantee. So I hand it to you. Which water fish can live? Amen. All of them. All of them. A killer penny stud over at Rainbow Coral. Not me. I don't know about that. Can you tell us about Rainbow Coral's penny stud and your time in the Dominicas? Well, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I was in the Dominicas. What is that really? Rainbow Coral. Lord, I haven't heard about them in years. Yeah, I was in Rainbow Coral, I don't know, 20 years ago, trying to help them get their coral farm set up. I didn't even know they were, well, I'll have to go visit and see who's running it these days. Yeah, I went down there. It wasn't a long trip. I think I went twice, as a matter of fact. Not sure, I don't remember. It's been a long time. Tried to get some biological set up. Don't know what they did with all that. I know we put a lot of rock out in the ocean to coralize. I don't know if they ever found that again. Last I heard, they were going through some major changes, staff changes and the like. So I guess they got it together. Well, I will visit Rainbow Coral and see what's going on there. Happy to hear about it. It's remarkable. And there can fish live forever theoretically, says Deacon Bean Cooter. And the answer is absolutely yes. Theoretically, fish can live forever. And the reason I say that is because fish do not have an aging gene. They don't grow old. They don't go through the kind of decrepitude that mammals do. However, that may be because they just never get to that stage. No, I think it's because they really don't have an aging gene. They do, however, die. They are antithetically, however, remarkably immune to disease. Remarkably so. In the wild, fish will their slime coat and their natural immunities prevent a whole host of diseases occurring that we've managed to inflict upon them when we put them into one of our killer tanks, or death tanks. The killer fish tank is capable of creating disease in fish that they are absolutely immune to in the wild, demonstrating simply what a completely destructive and violent and deadly environment we are putting our fish in as a matter of course. Nevertheless, to finish the answer, they do not have a death, that is to say, an aging gene. However, there are a number of conditions they die from, one of which is starvation. Now, it takes a while. Fish do not, they can become very serene, very very sedated, and exert little more than a calorie or two a minute, hour, or day. In other words, they can reduce their heart rate and their breathing rate and their flow rate, their activity rate, to the point where they were exerting little or no energy, burning few calories. That, of course, allows their retained fats, their stored fats, to be able to sustain them indefinitely. It is not unusual for mature fish to not eat for 6 months or longer without any substantial damage to the fish. Nevertheless, they can starve. At a given point in time, there simply is nothing left, and they will just roll over and give up the ghost. May take a week or two, might take a month, but they will eventually die from starvation. Number two, they can die from very foul water. Now, the foulness is less a function of chemical poisoning and more a function of oxygen deprivation. That's the major killer. And that happens when a vast amount of pollutants in the form of nutrients are suddenly dumped into their water column overcome the ability of the available flora and fauna to consume it and begin deteriorating thanks to available bacteria. The bacteria, not caring one whit about higher forms of organic life, begins the process of depleting the oxygen in the water column. And it will deplete it to the point where the weakest of the oxygen consuming critters in the water die. That would be shrimp, crabs, other crustacea, including scallops, oysters, clams, bivalves, would also include snails and then fish. Now, the difficulty in this is that when the first fish, clam, scallop, or invertebrate die, it creates that much more nutrients for which inadequate macro, micro fauna are available to consume it. And so it too produces an increasing bacteria bloom, causing 2 or 3 or more critters to die, thereby increasing again the bacteria bloom to the point where it is now consuming 60, 70, 80% of the available oxygen, causing even more fish to die. Eventually, this creates an environment in which everything except one in your fish tank, typically, everything except one fish has died. And that one is hanging at the surface, slurping down oxygen out of the air as expeditiously as it is able to do so. That is typically when you find it, when there's one left. And you manage to save the one. Now, that happens in the wild, in open water as well. It's called red algae. A red algae bloom is not actually algae, it's actually a bacteria that consumes a flush of nutrients, typically in the form of algae that is overwhelming the system, or pollutants in the form of a flush from a municipal water treatment system, creating this impossible situation in which the oxygen is depleted in a substantially large area of perhaps 100 yards, in which everything dies, and causing a huge wash of dead fish on the lake on shore. That's another way fish can die. A third way they can die, of course, is by being eaten by bigger fish. That's the more common way for a fish to die, because there's always a bigger fish out there looking to eat a littler fish. The very biggest fish die from the very littlest parasite. Now, let me say a word about parasites. It is not the intention of parasites to kill. That is not their intention at all. In fact, the code of ethics of the parasite is to prevent the death of its host in order for it to continue to be its host, keeping in mind that if it kills its host, it loses its meal. So the parasite in the wild rarely, if ever, kills a host. More often than not, it will complete its feeding cycle. It will release itself from its host, drop to the bottom, fornicate at will, and produce the next generation of ethical parasites. Now, while I'm on the subject, the ethical parasite has many other parasites in its environment, not all of whom are friendly. It is the case that of all of the microfauna, and for that matter, the macrofauna, these are the little microscopic or near microscopic critters that live in our water columns, in our fish tanks, in our lakes, rivers, creeks, ponds, and oceans. Those comprise vast, unlimited, nearly species of critters, nearly 50% of whom are in fact parasites. So, in answer to the query about bringing a food web resurrection jar culture into the fish tank, the query being, how do I avoid parasites? The straightforward answer is you don't. You do not avoid parasites because it is, in fact, impossible to avoid parasites. Therefore, the solution to this otherwise difficult dilemma is to increase the variety and the volume of microfauna in order to ensure the widest possible diversity of parasites and other macro and microfauna, thereby creating a biological balance in which those parasites completed their fornication and the creation of the next generation will find their progeny being decimated by other like-minded parasites that parasitize on parasites rather than on big fish and other larger critters. A final means by which fish die, and I'm sorry to make this such an extended answer to such a simple question, but it is my joy and burden to do so. I can't think of what the other one is. I know there's another way fish die. Well, fishermen catch them, and that's not to be disdained. Fishermen do catch them, and in some cases, in such monumental proportions that a population may well be decimated, as we see around the globe. I will admit, however, that far too often that decimation is not the product so much of fishermen as it is perhaps of an environmental change or of some other imbalance in the intricately balanced system that is the system of nature. I could go on, but I won't. So let us continue looking at the questions. Can you tell us about rainbow coral? I will kill this up. Killer penny stuff. I heard they had a killer penny stuff around. You know what? Oh my word. Now, whoa. Well, there was one. Oh, rainbow coral. Rainbow coral. You mean they're back? You mean they're actually doing something? I don't know if I can even find that. I used to have stock in it. I'm not sure I do anymore. It's been a long time. Oh dear, this is interesting. Well, that's a long story, and we shan't get into it right now. Who's this? Low-tech aquarium. Time of the Dominicans. Rainbow second, rainbow coral. I'll have to look it up. Well, let's see. Before I met Father Fish, I was a fish undertaker. There it is. I agree, but Ted has been running for about a year now with no issue. You go, Lauren. You were the CEO of Rainbow Coral. I was indeed. I was indeed. You purchased Father Fish Aquarium as CEO. No, that's not true. No, that's not true. The Rainbow Coral came after Father Fish Aquarium. And it was independent. Well, let's see, was it now? No, it was actually Father Fish Aquarium that purchased Rainbow Coral, in effect, or at least founded Rainbow Coral. Ahmed Bagaf from Somalia. To my knowledge, Rainbow Coral has been defunct for many, many years. So I don't know where you discovered it. It's interesting that it's coming up. That's at least 15 years, maybe 20. Close to 20 years, I think. It never really took off. There were efforts for it to do so, but it never. According to financial, okay. Rainbow Biosciences, Father Fish Aquarium. That was another corporation. Right, that's true. That was Florida Corporation, which is defunct. Huh. Rainbow Biosciences. So, is Rainbow Biosciences still functioning? Interesting. 2011, yeah, that'd be about right. That would be 15 years ago, June 13th. Huh. Rainbow Biosciences bought Rainbow Coral, actually. Through the tank with gravel, made water fish in saltwater and according to where are we going here? Yeah, well, that's true. No, not true. Not true. Who is this doing? Low temp aquarium. Well, you got your story mixed up, so you happy to straighten it out with you. Lauren Barrett, some of us are here to learn. Temptation prevents free fungal infection. Is this true? Yes, absolutely. Well, here's the story about fungal infection. A fungal infection, fungus follows bacteria. If there is a fungal infection, there is an underlying bacterial infection. Fungus does not attack live tissue. It attacks dead tissue. It grows on dead tissue. And it'll grow on or any dead organic material. Typically, it grows on organic vegetable material, which is how you find mushrooms and the like growing in the forest. They're growing on dead trees, if you will, dead leaves and the like. But it will also grow on dead flesh. That's what the fungal growth is that we see growing on fish sometimes, as well as on skin, on human skin. But it's growing on dead flesh that's been killed by bacteria. So there's an underlying bacterial infection that has created the environment on which fungus can grow. So by treating the function, you're not treating the disease, you're treating the symptom. So fungus is a symptom of a bacterial infection. The solution then is to treat the bacterial infection. And on a fish, you can do that very simply with an antibacterial ointment. It works brilliantly and perfectly effectively. You simply dab it on, take the fish out of the tank with a net, and dab some antibacterial ointment, Neosporin, or any derivation thereof on that infected spot, and the fungus will immediately wipe away, which will allow the antibacterial ointment to cover the bacterial opening. It will kill the bacteria instantly, and it will cover the wound sufficient for the slime coat to come over to overcoat the wound, thereby making it possible for the fish to heal. So one of the reasons fish heal so well is because their slime coat prevents bacteria from coming in and prevents many parasites from coming in. There are parasites that can. The ick is one. It is able to get through that slime coat, as are other larger parasites. But the long and the short of it is you treat a fungal infection by treating the underlying bacterial infection. First, where ginger is okay to prevent and treat fungal infection. This is the second time I've heard about ginger. I've not tried it. I don't know. But again, treating fungus does not cure the problem. It does not create. How can I say this? It does not get rid of the fungus, but momentarily. The fungus will come back if the bacteria remains active. If the bacteria continues to kill the flesh that it is infecting, then there will be fungus again. You won't get rid of it. There are treatments that claim to be fungal treatments that are in fact bacterial treatments for obvious reasons, and they work. But they work not because they're killing the fungus, but because they're killing the bacteria. So there's that. To prelave in the nature, prelave meaning to take anything from, in France it is forbidden by law to prelave in the nature, meaning to take anything from nature. Well, that means you should not be able to breathe or drink water, because air and water are both natural elements. They exist in nature. They are natural. So by drinking water and breathing air, you're violating the laws of France. I wish you well. What's best feed for fish? Live food. Live food is best feed for fish. No question about it. In the wild, virtually all fish eat live food. Um, in fact, the only time they don't eat live food is when it dies, and then they'll eat a dead live food, if you will. Um, Live food. There are a number of live foods that are pretty easy to culture. The white worm culture is one of the best. Microworm and freshly hatched brine shrimp and Daphnia culture are really essential for baby fish, many of which are only able to eat by triggering on on food that is moving, on microfauna that's moving right in front of their nose, and they grab it. So feeding microworm and brine shrimp and Daphnia, as well as paramecium for the tiniest of fish, is critical for them to get through that initial stage of development. If you don't, they're likely going to die. There are there are some successful methods for feeding very tiny, and I mean tiny egg layers, not live bears. Live bears can eat flake food, baby live bears. They can eat pretty much anything because they're vastly more mature. They've been gestating in their mother's womb for upwards of a month or more. Eggs, fish that hatch from eggs, at least from eggs that are laid, from tetras and the like, hatch at approximately 3 days of development. They still have a yolk sac. They're nowhere near developed yet. In fact, there are some that are born, they don't even have a mouth. They can't swim, they can't eat. All they can do is finish digesting that egg sac so that they can develop some fins to swim with and a mouth to eat with. Once they do that, they're looking for something right in front of their nose to eat. What they're going to find, if they find it, is going to be a very rich culture of microfauna. That would be in the case of raising our fish, brine shrimp, paramecium, microworms, those sorts of things. Tiny little food that they can eat and be able to get through that initial stage. That's what you have to do with baby bettas. And keep in mind, baby bettas cannot eat baby brine shrimp. They're too big. Baby angels can, and most of the baby cichlids, that is, most of the Central American cichlids. Now, African cichlids, when they spawn, they mature the eggs in their mouth for upwards of a month before they're released. So when they are released, they're ready to go, just like um, a, uh, a live bearer baby is ready to go. So, best food for fish. That's baby fish. Adult fish, live food. If you cannot feed live food, there are some good options. Uh, uh, any of the dried bug, dried bugs, or bug bites is a brand name that a lot of people like. I've used it. I like it. Um, we've discovered a food that's a small processing. How can I say this? It's a food that is not processed in large volume. It's processed in very small volume. And we're one of the few distributors of it. It's we call it, we have branded it Nutripreta. It is called Cool Flake, COOL Flake, Cool Flake. And it's a process by which the slurry that is created to make flake food is not baked the way flake food is baked. It is rather dried with warm air. which allows all of the amino acids, the fatty acids, and the other nutrients to remain essentially available to the food to the fish as an available food. It does have a shelf life. It's prolonged. It can be prolonged to about 3 months. We like to keep it refrigerated. It prolongs it even more. But we find that our fish and those folks who have started using it find their fish so ravenous about it that it really doesn't last very long. We sell an 8 ounce container of it for $20. It is an amazing food. I haven't found anything that's even close to being like it. And I've tried a lot of different foods, and some I've really liked, others I haven't at all. One I thought I would really like is fish eggs, a prepared fish egg that's semi-frozen. I thought, wow, what a great fish food. I don't know what the process is, but fish won't eat it. They'll eat it initially, but after a while they just ignore it. It doesn't have the food value. Now that's one specific type, and I can't tell you offhand what it is. It's a saltwater fish egg, but I can't remember what. And it may be a herring type fish, a small fish egg. I'll find out and let you know. I I found it doesn't work nearly as well as I had hoped it would. There are other frozen products that do. There's some very good ones. And there are some good frozen products for baby fish as well that are actually quite good and they do work well. You need some aeration in the water to keep it in the water column because if it falls to the bottom, the baby fish are going to miss it. They're up swimming around. They're rarely on the bottom. Those that are will find it, but those that are not won't. So when you're feeding these fish, you need a sponge filter in there, not only to keep water moving, you keep that food in suspension, but also to be filtering the water to be getting out some of the uneaten particulate matter that could otherwise cause a bacterial growth in the water column. So there's that. Vivarium, I love vivariums. I need to create some vivariums. Thank you, Vince, for that. Ms. Peach, thank you. Read my bed is a frozen natural food, red worms, white worms, mice, and Japanese. Couldn't do better than that. Can't do better than that. Join as a channel member. Thank you, Fish Family. Anybody know the best way to determine if ghost shrimp have disease? You're talking about catching them wild and bringing them in. The best way to do that is to keep them in a quarantine tank for a few days. They won't get disease so much as they'll bring parasites in, but they're large enough to see. They'll be attached like a worm or a round spot attached to the shell of the shrimp, and will actually be boring a hole in it, sucking out its juices, and frequently thereby killing them. That's not to say shrimp are parasites; they're not, but the parasites can kill shrimp. So you want to be careful about that. Just keep an eye on it. Look for anything that looks unusual. You can usually spot it very easily. It's pretty obvious. I like a top of leaves to prevent fungus. So you say. Any particular one used for a no, not at all. I don't think it matters. They're all broad spectrum. Prelieve means microfauna in nature is forbidden. Isn't that strange? Isn't that just strange? Microfauna, of course, are what allows you to digest your food. And it is the ingestion of microfauna in the foods that we eat that make it possible to do digestion. So claiming that microfauna is illegal to take means you should not eat food because food is a primary source of microfauna. The French are in deep trouble, deep trouble. They may not breathe, they may not drink, and now we discover they may not eat. What fools they are. Some catawba is never bad. Open water granite tea, whatever that. Thanks for teaching us all about bringing the natural world into everything. Thank you, Dill. Still trying to make a Daphne culture. Can be difficult. The key to it, there are a couple of little tricks. One is it's really important to try to do it outdoors where there's some natural sunlight because you need a pretty rich algae culture to keep it going. So you need direct sunlight. You can do it without that, but it's difficult to keep the green water up. They do tend to deplete it. Number two, you must have a cover. Now it can be a clear cover or it can be a fine mesh net cover in order to prevent mosquito larvae. Mosquito larvae are a great food, but they eat Daphnia, you see. Mosquito larvae are a predator on Daphnia, as are, what's the other one? Damselfly larvae, which is a tiny red worm. Also will feed on, I believe, will feed on very tiny, freshly hatched Daphnia. So you need a screen to cover it, and you need to feed it. You can feed it yeast, that works. You can feed it a little bit of fertilizer, that works. I have a friend who fed his dead bugs, that works too. Leaves will work. Anything that provides nutrient for the algae being that which the Daphnia eat, and it's microalgae, not any kind of algae. So you need a microalgae culture. One of the ways to do this is to keep a culture of algae going, and do not allow the Daphnia to get near it. Feed it to the Daphnia, so it's a one-way trip. That means that whatever you're taking the green water out of the culture with never touches the Daphnia culture. You pour it in, dip it out and pour it in, and then rinse it good because you don't want to get any Daphnia back in that green water. So that's the more, if you need to do it in-house, try to maintain a green water culture that you can feed to the Daphnia. The green water culture is the key. If you can keep it going outside, you'll be able to keep your culture going outdoors. The larger a barrel is good, something that's fairly deep. Some people do aeration, other people do not. Experiment with it. I've had it not work. I've had it more effective when the Daphnia are able to move up and down in the water column without the water moving up and down in the water column. I've had it actually die off when I had movement in the water. So try it that way in your community, in your home, in a laboratory environment or a fish room environment. You may need some light aeration. My suggestion would be to raise them in a tray to create as much surface space as possible, so that you'll be able to get that O2 CO2 exchange. Oh, do. Culture. 1 inch of soil, 2 inch full sand. The Buddha keeps digging down to the soil. Okay, you can get rid of the fish. The other solution, and this will work pretty well, you'll need to take all of your hardscape and plants out to do it. Get some egg crate mesh. That's the plastic mesh. It's like 1/2 inch mesh. You can buy it in a hardware store. It's used in drop ceiling lights to cover lighting. Well, used to be, not so much anymore. Comes in 2 foot by 4 foot sheets, I think. It's easy to cut. You can cut it with a blade. Cut it to fit your tank and press it down into the sand, far enough to get down close to the dirt. That way they'll be able to dig down to that and not dig into the dirt. If you're going to be doing that kind of tank, a dirted tank for diggers, then when you put the dirt down, put the grate on top of the dirt and cap that with sand. And you'll be able to prevent the diggers from digging up the dirt. That works really well. And it does not prevent roots from getting down into the dirt. It will cause some roots to tangle in it, but really not very much, because the openings are pretty big and the roots don't get that big, and they really don't tangle in it. They don't get big enough to get thick and grow around the opening. In other words, you're rarely going to have a 1/2 inch thick root growing on an aquatic plant. How long does it take before you see baby belly color and type? Well, about a month. 3 weeks to a month if they're well fed. Dry culture Daphne crashed on Cyclops and microworm and 3 adult Daphne. Yeah, you just have to keep experimenting with it. It is doable. You really can do it. And the thing that's nice about it is once you get a lock on it, you're locked in. I have friends who have had cultures for 50 years, same culture. They never lose the culture because once you get it figured out, you're not going to lose it. You just learn how to keep it without it without it breaking down. Let's see. Bettas are adults, not babies. Baby fish need living food. By and large, they do. There are some baby fish that will eat some of the fry food, but those tend to be larger Central American cichlid type babies that are foraging. Baby bettas, the earliest stage of like tetrabettas, the barbettas, the other small, not I mean bettas, I mean fish, tetrafish, barbs, the other small fish, rainbows are another one. Gouramis are another one. They are, when they first need food, they are so tiny that they cannot forage. They will eat what's in front of their nose. I mean, the food available to them needs to be at that level of density. And for at least the first few days to a week, that's what they depend on. There's got to be enough food in there for them to find it without looking for it. For it to be right in front of their nose, and they go, oh, open their mouth and they've got it. They might dart a little bit, but it won't be more than 1/4 of an inch It'll be a very short dart. And it won't really be a dart at all. It'll be more like a snatch and grab. Once they're through that first stage, then they're able to do more foraging and will actually go looking for food. But those first few days are critical to have a strong population of food. Now, a good rich food web goes a long way with baby bettas, for example, because they're down in the bottom or they're right in the top if you got plants growing there, which are areas that are filled with microfauna. So they'll find it. A rich microfauna in your baby tank is the surest means of succeeding in being able to grow baby fish, being able to save them, keep them going. Doom Pie was at the fish doorbell. Oh, that's fun. Post the link for the fish doorbell. That's fun. No activity. No activity. Let's see. Was cold? Well, cool where you are. Did you open a shop? I did. I opened a shop in Salisbury, Maryland. I closed the shop in Florida about, I guess, 4 years ago. I just kind of sold it out and abandoned it. I think I closed the corporation. I let it lapse in any case. I think it did do a final report on it, but that corporation in Florida, to my knowledge, no longer exists. If it does, it's not been renewed. So the Father Fish Aquarium, I think it's Father Fish Aquarium LLC in Maryland is the new corporation. What can feed an anchor catfish? Anchor catfish. An anchor catfish. What is unique about an anchor catfish? Anchor catfish hair. It's a stone. Let's see. Doobie-doo. Environment lighting. Food type. They'll eat anything. The food type here is sinking pellets, frozen rod legumes, brine shrimp, small crustaceans. Shy and mostly active at night. So anchor catfish, you can feed them about anything. Let's see. Hello, Holly Gibbs. Nice to see you. Lisa, in the home with a flat lamp is possible to make rainwater. Yes. You need to leave it on 24/7. Don't ever turn it off. And put a little bit of nutrient in there to get it going. If you can find a starter culture, that'll be a big help. But eventually it'll turn green. Once it does, you need to feed it. Because if you don't feed it, then it'll use up all the available nutrients and die off. So it is important to feed green algae, the green water, I should say. And again, you can feed it leaves, you can feed it a drop or two of fertilizer, feed it bugs, feed it dirt. You can feed it about anything. Feed it a dead shrimp or something. It needs nutrient. Feed it dead plants. From the garden with a small tiny worm on the bottom of it. Small tiny worm could be anything. It's probably a nematode. Nematodes are very common in gardens. And there are nematodes that can survive aquatically. In fact, that's what whiteworm culture is. Whiteworm culture is essentially a garden variety nematode that we maintain in the yeast culture. And you can actually capture them with potato skin by burying it for a week under a tree and scrape the inside of it when you dig it back up, put it on a yeast culture, and it'll begin the few worms that are in it will begin multiplying, and you will have a white worm culture. Really pretty simple to do. Budget Bonsai, hello, hello, nice to see you. Uh, Lauren Barrett, smiling ear to ear because you answered my question. Good. What was the question? Glad I answered it. 50 years is pretty cool. It certainly is. The gentleman who had it passed on. He had passed his culture on to many people, but his original culture was kept and is continuing today. He died about nearly 20 years ago, and his culture is still going today. He was active in he was one of the founders of the American Kelly Association, actually. Was active there and in a local fish club, the Tampa Aquarium Society, in fact, as well as the Sarasota Aquarium Society. He was a founder of the Sarasota Aquarium Society. Most of those gentlemen are long gone. He was Doc. He was famously known as Doc, affectionately known as Doc. Spirulina and yeast solution good for adapting in winter. If waiting for your morning. Yeah, that works pretty well. Spirulina that you buy cannot be resuscitated. It is dead. It is possible to start a live spirulina culture. It's pretty tricky, but it can be done. I've never done it. I've read the research on it. It requires essentially, or at least back when I read it, a laboratory to do it. I'm sure there are simpler methods today. So it probably is possible to do a live spirulina culture and might be a good idea to do so. I will try to remember to look into that, or maybe one of you can. Hello, Todd Sega. Let's see, what time is it? 8:04. We're under our hour. Oh, thank you. Who is that, Burns? Thank you, Burns. He's, Ahmed Bagam. Thank you, sir. Hey, Burns. I have said of baby bettas are about 3 weeks and still very tiny. They are tiny for a while. And they'll stay tiny if you can't really beef them up with food. Try to get a microworm culture going. That's one of the easiest foods to feed. Those are probably big enough to hatch brine shrimp. You can feed frozen baby brine shrimp, or you can buy decapsulated baby brine. We do sell decapsulated baby brine shrimp, which are pretty easy to hatch. I'm not sure we have a worksheet on that. I'll make sure we put one together. We do have a worksheet for microworm culture. Tommy, if you're watching, we need a worksheet or some purge. Please tell Tommy or ask him to do a worksheet on brine shrimp culture, hatching baby brine shrimp using both decapsulated and capsulated, and I will help them with the details of that. Thank you very much. We do that, by the way, on Discord. That's one of the projects that we have is developing worksheets. We have a group of people. If you want to join that group, you're more than welcome to do so. It's a group of people who develop utilities like thumbnails and worksheets and the like for our YouTube and for our Shopify and for other general distribution. I don't think YouTube lets me post a link. It should. There should not be a problem. And you're posting a link right now. Oh, I'm sorry. It may not. It should. I may have to, that may be a setting. I have to look into that. It may be a setting that I can fix. No, I've lost it. Let's see. Well, I'll look into that too, Mike. We really need people to be able to post links here. Make a pop-up at the Salisbury location. I don't know what you mean. I'm here now. I'll pop up. I know what you're talking about, Lauren. When you're going to make a pop-up at the Salisbury location. Explain to you what you mean. Lauren would love to meet you. I am always at the Cerakote. I'm here 6 days a week. I'm here all the time. What is an easy way to get baby piranha out of the tank without really interesting? Siphon them out. If you use they're in the 125, like a half-inch siphon on a fairly long hose, like 6-foot hose at least, so you can get it down in there and move it around. You may need to put something rigid on it if the end of it's floppy, but if the half-inch hose is pretty rigid, you should be able to get it close enough. If you hold your thumb on one end of it, on the output end, and move it around, when you get it near, just take your thumb off. It'll suck up the baby. That's probably the easiest way to get them, and you should be able to get close to them that way. You're going to have your hand in the water, although I doubt seriously that your piranha are going to go after your hand. You might need to do it with an extender on it if you don't want to put your hand in the tank. But siphoning is what I usually do to get baby fish out. You have mic on. I do. Open the location. Yes, I do. Yes, I have a location open. It's a store. I have a store in Salisbury, Maryland, that's open 9 to 4, 6 days a week, closed on Sundays. We also ship out from here, and we do all of our streaming, most of it at least from here. So we're here quite a lot, occasionally in the evenings. We hope eventually to be open in the evening so that folks who work during the day can get to us. We haven't reached the community yet to such an extent that we can do that, but we're probably getting very close. What we'll do is open 1 or 2 evenings a week and see how that goes. But we're here all the time. Come visit. We have people visiting all the time. Oh, good, Larry. Okay, I think we're at the end. I think I did it. Did I do it? If I missed your comment, I'm at the bottom of the page. Post now, and I will see it. If there's something that you really want me to see, post it, and I'll be happy to read it and respond. And I'll give folks a minute or two to do that. I try to catch everything. Don't know if I did. Happy to see you all. Nice to be here. Um, that was strange. We started out, it looked like we had 97 and it kept dropping. I think that was a glitch. I don't think there were actually that many people here. I think it started from 100 and worked backwards for some peculiar reason. We're at in the 40s, which is pretty good. Typical. It's the high end of typical. So pretty good. If we start giving stuff away, we can get it to 100. I'm not sure I want to do that. Or if I start doing daily, I am still thinking about doing morning live streams. My problem is getting up in the morning. I'm not real good at it. What I might have to do is schedule it for a little later in the morning, say 10 o'clock or like that. We'll see how it goes. But I kind of would like to do it. I did that before 7 days a week. My notion would be to do it 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, and to do it as part of our shop, so that what is going on in the shop will be part of the show. Okay, Adam Arborister says, we're the loyal ones in the GP4. Still here with you, Lauren Barrett. Thank you, Lauren. Might make a trip. Lauren is 5 hours away. Oh, I see. Well, we have people. I've had people drive here from Louisiana. I've people drive up from Virginia routinely. That's a 3 hour trip. 5 is a little far. That's 10 hours driving a day. You might want to plan a trip to Ocean City or something, or Assateague in the mix. Take a couple of days, stay in a hotel, enjoy it, make a like a weekend vacation out of it. We're here Saturdays, and if you're going to be here Sunday, call me and I will make room for you if I can. I'm often tied up until mid-afternoon on Sunday, but I'm happy to work something out. Let's see. Oh, we're down to it. Sneaking in to say hello, Brenda. Hi, Brenda. Brenda's in the other room. Adam, who says? That's right, Adam. Oh, specialties at one. Brunch streams. Yeah, brunch streams. That's not a bad idea, is it? We could do that. What can we do? The throughput did not make the water so red. You can soak it in an outdoor container like a bucket for 3 to 6 months. That'll work real well. Dubai. Thank you, Dubai. What temperature line fish? Well, I like 82. Let's see, I want to show you a tank you maybe haven't seen. We have, I can stand up without falling over. We have a community tank. It's a 40-gallon breeder that we've set up. I'm going to move the camera and show it to you. This is our 40 breeder. And what we've done is just every little fish we've got, we throw a couple in. Not big fish, little fish. We do have more than this, but there are a few little schools. There's a school of greens. There's a school of red nose, or ruby nose. It's kind of a mix of fish. Our goal is to have, I think we're at about 50 right now. The goal is to get to 100. We're gonna have 100, and then I'm gonna increase it from that. I'm gonna see if we don't have live bears. At least only a few platies, I think. But once we get live bears, that'll give us more babies. And that'll begin punching up the population. We also do not have a food web going in here yet, at least not much of one. We've got some moths coming up, some sponsor tang, some Java moths. So we're beginning to get a bit of it, but I want to get some leaf culture in here. We're going to be selling soon live culture, wild live culture. Phillips is no longer doing that. We've had some requests for it, so I got to get out and collect. But I do still have some left from when we were selling it. So we've got some outdoor live foods that I still have culture in there. But we're going to get that going too. And we will have dried leaves. We'll be selling the big dried leaves. I've got a big bag of it, so we can do that. We'll try to get those up this week. That should be pretty quick, and I'll get some of that in here too. So there it is. Nice little tank. All right. I think we're done. Does anybody else think we're done? My back thinks we're done. Oh dear. Let me sit down again where I fall down. Oh, I'm getting real bad on my feet. I'm not moving around enough. And I need to do that. And green tetras. Oh, and there's a fish up here. If it's still here, I want to show you. See if I can, oh yes, right there in the corner. See that? That's a Valenti Garani. Right there, kind of from the side. Yes, right there. Read the Valenti Garani. There, right there. Pretty cool. Neons. Dipleons. Together details. Cool little fish. From Borneo, when they were first brought in about 5 years ago, it was impossible to keep them in other than very salt acid water. They've now been bred in captivity to such an extent I've got them in hard alkaline water, and they're surviving. I don't think I can get them to breed. They may not survive long. This I really need to set up a tank for them. I do have a saltwater tank, and I might try that. I love the fish. I'd love to be able to really set it up properly. So I'm going to try to do that. All right. That was all I had for tonight. Love you all. Wonderful as ever to be with you. Oh, let me get back here. And we're going to say, love you all. And bye for now. Let's see if we can do our closing. Welcome to Father Fish and the Natural Aquarium. Whatever. Love you all. Bye for now. Well, hello. This is Father Fish. And I'm back with you in a new and exciting format.